I see your screen, but it still shows pre-live.
Yeah, still shows pre-live, Peter. Now.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sales Tool Programming Update. My apologies for being a few minutes late to start the call. I got hung up on another call, and then I had a little bit of technical difficulties getting the screen going. So my apologies to you, but I think you'll find the content well worth it today. So my name is Peter Ryan. I'm with the marketing team for the Global Fire Detection Products Group, and I'll be helping to moderate today your session. So just a quick couple of words before I pass this over to Edgar. We're using Microsoft Teams Live, as you can tell today. Everybody is muted, and during the session, you'll see a Q&A box up at the top of the screen. You'll be able to put in any questions or comments about anything in that Q&A box. We'll be monitoring this throughout the session. And we will go ahead and open up for Q&A at the end of the session, and we'll make sure that we get all your questions answered. If someone else has asked a question that you like, click on it and do a thumbs up vote, and that way also we'll see that there's one particular question that everybody is really interested in getting done, so it'll help us focus. So with that, I just want to pass this over quick to Edgar for some opening comments on the agenda.
Hola, bueno, muy buenos días y muy buenas tardes a todos. Una disculpa nuevamente, tuvimos algunos problemas técnicos para comenzar la sesión. Bueno, la agenda del día de hoy, bueno, esta es la introducción. Después vamos a hablar un poco sobre las órdenes que ahora se van a poder hacer en Navigator. Después vamos a tener un demo de cómo funciona esta nueva funcionalidad. Después veremos una introducción breve a un nuevo sistema para cotización y posteriormente a eso tendremos un demo de lo mismo junto con un cálculo de los circuitos de notificación. Para finalizar tendremos preguntas y respuestas. Y bueno, quiero también comentarles la razón por la que estamos haciendo esto completamente en inglés, la presentación. Entiendo que algunos pudieran tener problemas y lo ideal sería que fuese en español y en portugués para Brasil. Es que consideramos esto una herramienta muy útil y no queríamos detener más el proceso de introducción, ya que veo más ventajas en introducirlo rápidamente que esperar y hacer la traducción. Sin más, cualquier duda, cualquier pregunta que tengan, problema con la traducción, me pueden mandar un mensaje por el chat y lo responderé rápidamente. Sin más, lo regreso a Peter para que comience la sesión. Gracias. Back to you, Peter.
All right, thank you, Edgar. Thank you so much. So with that, I'm going to, we'll be passing into the Order Navigator section of the demo with a little bit of a brief introduction here. So as Edgar said, we're going to see some live demos today, but I think you'll find these enhancements for Order Navigator and then the feature quick quotes features have been, I've been with the company quite a long time, as has Jason and, and Edgar and Chuck. And this to me, is a fantastic work. I think Jason and Chuck and the team have done an amazing job. And I think you're going to be thrilled when you see this, because this gives you visibility into many of the things that you've been asking for a really long time. So what I'm going to do is pass over to Jason. When you're ready, Jason, let me know and I'll give you the screen.
Okay, thank you, Peter, and good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for joining this update session. Your time is very much appreciated. As Peter said, my name is Jason Crouch, and I'm really responsible for our sales tools programs and software. And as he mentioned, our latest release to that Navigator platform as to introduce a new application called Order Navigator, which encompasses a My Order tracker, and this has been a significant leap forward in providing our users the ability to get visibility into their shipments and track their orders and look at the status and the history. And as you can see from the slide on the screen here, some of the features that provide. So, you can see the status of individual orders. You can filter your orders by status. So you can look at ones that have been completed, the ones that are, in partial shipment status, the ones that are in progress. You can track your shipments and see targeted delivery dates. So we break it down by line of the actual requested ship date and the actual ship date. We can also configure shipping and order tracking notifications. So that can be done at the actual account level. So you can set yourself up to receive notifications when shipments are actually dispatched, if they get delayed in transit, and when they're delivered. And you can also get very granular and go down to each individual order, and you can add people on the fly. So for example, if you were shipping directly to a contractor, for example, you could add, you know, the contractor or whoever the recipient may be, their email ID, just down to that one particular order. And again, you can advise those folks of when it's dispatched, when it's delayed, and when it's actually delivered. So it's very, very flexible. If you could enable the screen sharing, please, Peter. I'm going to try and share my screen.
All right, let me try to do that. Okay, you should be able to share now.
Okay. So can you see my dashboard?
We've got your, yeah, I've got your screen right now. It looks like it's broadcasting.
Fantastic. Okay, so I've actually gone into a test environment. I've not gone into anyone's real account, and hopefully some of you have already seen this because we actually enabled this last week. We actually went live. So the first thing that you'll notice when you log into the Navigator platform, you'll see the My Order Tracker here populate on the dashboard. Now, you've probably seen it for some time, but this particular grid has always been empty. And hopefully when you log in now, this will be populated. And we've loaded history for the past 12 months. You'll see this populated. Now, all users of that account will see this order history view. And depending on whether you've actually been enabled for the Order Navigator app will determine whether you've got the truck icon and the Order Navigator icon. For those that haven't been enabled for the actual Order Navigator app, they would just see the truck icon. So what we did, in order to go live and to get people into this, all of the delegate admins for the respective accounts, we enabled Order Navigator access. So your delegated admins will already have access to that particular application. And as you can see here, I'm not showing it on my dashboard at the moment because I just wanted to walk through how you enable a favorite on the dashboard. So if I look at the applications menu here, you can see I've got Configure, which is the Selection Navigator app. And then I've got Order, which is the Order Navigator app. So if I click on Order, it will take me down to the tile. As you can see here, the Order Navigator. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check this star to add it to my favorites. And it just wants confirmation. Would you like to make this application a favorite for all accounts that have access? So I'm going to do yes. So now if I just go back to my dashboard, and again, you only have to do that once, right? So once I do that, you'll now see both Selection Navigator and Order Navigator appear as favorites under my favorite apps. Now, as I say, if you're a standard user that's not a delegate admin and you would like access to Order Navigator, then you can request access from your delegate admins. And if you don't know who your delegated admins are, you can click on My Account and you can click on Find My Admin, and it will give you a list of all the delegate admins for your account. Now, when we look at the order tracker, you know, it's populated with order number, PO number, when that was created, who it's going to be shipping to, the requested ship date, original promise date, and current promise date. So there's quite a lot of information there, and each one of those lines represents an individual order. You can also use the filters on the left-hand side here to further filter that list. So, for example, if I want to look at all of my orders that are in process, I can check that box. Now, if I click the truck icon here, it will take me to a high-level overview. And you can see there, it's telling me the order submitted, the order's processing, and some information here. I can also add recipients here. if I want to add special, one-time notifications for that particular order. If I just go back a screen and let's look at partially shipped orders. And this time I'm gonna use this this icon. I'm gonna jump straight into the Order Navigator application view. And this will give me a high-level breakdown of the actual lines on that order. So if I click this, and again, if you don't have that icon and you need access, this is where you would request access to the Order Navigator app from your delegate admin. And they would follow exactly the same procedures as they do to add users and assign permissions for Selection Navigator. They would just select Order Navigator on that list. So again, this is just a test account, so don't take too much notice of the data in here. But to give you an idea, this is now giving me a breakdown of this particular partial shipped order. So what it's doing, it's showing you the lines that have completed, that have shipped, and it will also tell you what's still remaining, what's in process, and if there have been any lines that are cancelled. So that's a live update. And then also we're providing the estimated delivery dates per line as well. Now, if I go back to the home page and I actually go into the Order Navigator application, so again, this will allow you to, again, view all your orders, and you can filter by status. You can actually search a PO number, to from dates, part number, is it ship complete, etc. And then you can search those orders. And then by clicking on that order number, it will take you into that same view that I've just previously showed. The other option here is you've also got my profile. And if I go into my profile, what I can do here, so the default is obviously unchecked, okay, but I could come in by user and say I want to see every notification for all orders. So this is like a global setting, account setting for this particular user, Stuart Cole, in this example. And I could say I want to see when something's departed, when it's delivered, and when it's delayed in transit, and I can then save those preferences. And now what will happen, I will now start to receive notifications for each one of these for all orders in that particular account. Now, it may be that you don't want to see it for all orders, and you want to just do it for certain orders, which you can do from here. I can pick on this particular order, and when I'm in that details, the line details, you'll see there's a manage notifications button. And if I do the same settings there, I'm only going to get notifications for this particular order. So it's pretty flexible. You can set yourselves up by user to receive, all information regard to order tracking for all orders, or you can come down and select individual ones. Okay, so I'm going to now pass over to Chuck Cardill, my colleague, who's going to walk through the new feature quick quote tool. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jason, I was just thinking maybe at this moment to take a quick pause. Edgar, Is there anything that you want to jump in and, like anything that you want to say or add?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay, perdón.
I just thought, maybe it might be a good opportunity to take a breath.
Sí, bueno, ya vieron la primera parte de la presentación. No sé si alguno tenga alguna duda, alguna pregunta o algo que no haya entendido. Obviamente, lo que buscamos con esto es agilizar, y escuchando todas las quejas que hemos tenido con respecto a la información que obtienen de la parte de servicio a clientes, pues estamos buscando que esto se reduzca lo más que se pueda. Y bueno, es obvio que hay áreas de oportunidad, y es importante también saber que pueden contar ustedes con el canal para decirnos si algo no funciona, no lo hagan saber. De todas formas, la presentación se está grabando. Al final vamos a tener la disponibilidad de la presentación para que la puedan ver a lo mejor con más calma. Y bueno, dicho lo anterior, regresamos ahora con Chuck. So Chuck, can you continue, please?
Absolutely, thanks. Hi, everybody. My name is Chuck Claudel. Jason and I work together on the sales tools. And so Selection Navigator is a tool that all you guys have access to. You can build systems, you can add products, and it's a great system. But one of the questions and one of the replies we heard when we talked to the customers was, we need something faster. We bid 100 projects in a month and we win 10 of them. For this 100 projects, we went to a faster way to turn these quotes. So what we did is we came up with the feature Quick Quote, which is it's a web-based, it's a spreadsheet, not web-based, but it's an Excel-based spreadsheet. It allows for a rapid fluid interface for selecting products, has a logical selection process and flow. It generates a file which you can bring into Selection Navigator for quick pricing. It does provide some useful calcs as you go for the estimated number of NACs, loops, repeaters, conventional NACs, all those things. You as the user can set your base preferences, such as wire gauge and spare design capacity, and it has easy to navigate sections. So this is available on the Simplex Distributor website. You can search for it, and Peter has also he sent it out to all of you. So first thing I have to do, it's an Excel-based sheet with macros, so enable the content. And when you do, you have to accept the agreement, the license agreement. This is actually two tools in one. So this has the circuit designer, which allows you to build ID-NAC circuits and do T-taps and Class A and all those different things. And this was our original tool. Then we added the FQQ tool to it as just another facet. So the second tab is where I start the FQQ. And when this opens, it has ID-Net and all the different tabs across the top and across the bottom. So all these light blue items are things that the user can modify. So if I'm doing a takeoff, I'm looking at sets of drawings and I have the floor 1 drawing, the floor 2 or floor 3, or maybe you want to change that and say this is electrical E101 drawing. So E101, when I change that, the header will change here. You can also change the spare capacity. So if you don't want to exceed 80% of your loop capability, set that for 20% spare. And what that means, we have a 250 point loop. You can only put 200 devices on it before it needs another loop. So down here at the bottom, we have all of our ID-Net devices, and we've gone ahead and listed them all with their individual accessories. So we have our standard smoke detector with the standard base here. The next item down is the smoke with the LED, remote LED base, and et cetera. As you scroll down, you will see we've done the same thing for our heat detectors, our photo heat combos. The duct detector here this is just the duct detector. The next line is the duct detector with the red LED, and then the test station. So if I choose, if I need a duct detector with a remote, don't choose one of these and one of these, because you'll end up with 2 duct detectors. Sampling tubes are here. We've done the IMs, relay IMs, ZAMs. All of them have the module itself or the module with either type of trim plate. And then we finally have the IM encapsulated. So this is all of our ID-Net devices are listed. And if I come up to the top and I select 25 smoke detectors, you can see that it populated in this top, in the white section is the info or your totals. 25 devices, 25 unit loads, and we can fit this on one loop. But if I change this to 225, I've now exceeded that 80% threshold on that loop. So it's telling me you're going to need 2 loops to do this. There's my 225 devices. So moving on to the addressable NAC page, the ID NAC works exactly the same as the other with some extra options. We still have the spare capacity option, but since I now can be putting speakers in, as I add speakers, well, what wattage as an average do I want to put in, and it will keep track of how large of amps you would need. I can adjust the wire gauge. I can adjust the temperature of the wire, which affects the resistance. I can also check metric or imperial measurements. So down at the bottom, another difference between this and the previous page, every job has pretty much all of the same type of ID-Net devices, so we listed every one of those. But when you get into notification devices, some jobs are voice jobs that need speaker strobes. Other jobs are horn strobes only. So what we suggest you do is go in and set your parameters. You can choose your favorite devices here and set your candelas, and what it will do, it will keep track of you can save this as a template. So you might have a voice version of this template and a non-voice version that has your favorite devices in the beginning here. So if I come in and this is a speaker only, let me do a strobe instead. If I choose 50 of these, and I hit enter, up top, if I scroll back to the information, it says you've decided you need 50 addresses. It'll have 50 unit loads. It's going to take 13 amps of ID NAC strobe power, and we need 50 watts of amps available. So then we come into this. We have our bottom says, well, am I going to build this with one ID NAC or multiple ID NACs? If I'm going to use just ID NACs without repeaters, then I'll need 6 ID NAC circuits to accommodate these 50 devices. That's because of the strobe power. If I'm going to use one ID NAC with repeaters, then I need 1 and 5. So moving on to the NAC tab, it's done exactly the same way, but it has conventional devices rather than addressables. Again, you can choose your favorite devices, be it horns, speakers, or maybe multi-tone horns if you're doing sleeping environments. Then we get into third-party items, which are items that we don't provide, but we know you need for your quotes. So these were things like your permitting costs, and you can set up, again, this is light blue, you can set up your permitting costs and the hours involved for your business, not the ones that we provided. You can also come down to the subcontractor cost, electrical, conduit, and such. And then finally at the bottom, these might be items like wire, FPLP, whatever you're using on the job. When you set them up here over on the left and get your totals, they're not actually chosen yet until you come over to this column and I say I need one of these. Okay, next, you can build our control panels over in Selection Navigator. Like for example, if this is all the field devices, the ID Net, ID NAC, and conventional NAC devices. I could actually choose my 4007 in CellNav and then bring these in, but since we're here, we're going to give you the option to include your CellNav, your 4007 panel as well. We will eventually expand this to the 4010 as well, because those are off-the-shelf items and they don't need to be configured. So we have 3 of the hybrid versions, the conventional NACs at the top, and 3 versions of the ID NAC on the bottom. You can go through here and choose your standard options. Maybe you want this panel, which you'd want this to always be a platinum panel, and you want this to be 175 points. I don't need a network, or I do. Do I want an annunciator on the job? You choose it. This is they're light blue, so you can configure them. Same thing at the bottom. Do I want to include the batteries in my bill of materials? Yes or no. After you made your options, your choices, good. And again, save this as part of your template. So next time you jump into this, you won't have to set those items. And all you have to do at that point is say, well, I need 3 of this type of panel for this order. Okay. Then I move over to there's an import capability. So there are programs out there such as Bluebeam, for example, that is a program that you use to go down and do takeoffs of a PDF, and it will count all of your devices for you. Well, since it's already done the counting, why would you want to redo things by hand and input it? You can actually import that drawings, those totals right into here. So what that looks like is we have a standard library of phrases. So when we import the Bluebeam output file, anytime we see the word smoke detector standard base in it, it automatically maps to our 9714 or 9792 device. If you already have Bluebeam and you want to use your library rather than the library that we have, you can scroll over here and say, all right, this is the white is our library. This is your library. And maybe you use the term addressable smoke instead of our phrase. When I do that, it's going to change it, and I just have to come up the top here and say, well, which import library? Do I want the master, which is the white, or do I want the custom, which is yours? When I do that, this same smoke detector is now mapped to these same 2 items. So now that we've done that, I'm going to switch back to the master, and I'll import a drawing file. So I have on my desktop a Bluebeam file for this, and it's got a bunch of devices already in it. So when I open it, what it's doing, it's taking the Bluebeam totals, which it's already counted, and bringing them all in one shot. And you can see that they've changed over here. It also throws a box up that says, well, I don't recognize these items. So I'm not worried about the first, third, and fourth item because they're just text But this second item says, well, I didn't find a speaker strobe ceiling, weatherproof, white, and at 75 candela. Well, the reason is we don't make one of those. We make a 135 and a 185 candela. So it didn't kill the whole import. It just says we didn't find that line. You need to address that before you continue. So now moving on. So there's all my devices. I can bring those into column 1, column 2, column 3, just like we did on previous. That's just your different areas: electrical, the E101 drawing, the E102, E103, etc. So we go into the next thing. It's labor rates. One of the questions or queries we had from the field was, can you help us keep track, an easy way to keep track of our labor? So what Jason has done here, every time you choose one of those items on the previous tabs, it automatically populates here in this tab. And you, because it's in blue, you can set up the time it takes to what you think in your business it takes to install a smoke detector or a duct detector. You also can choose, where do I grab this data from? I have these filters at the top. Do I grab the data from IDNAC Designer, which we didn't even show here, the Quick Quote, which is these tabs, or the Bluebeam import? And what it will do, you have installation, commissioning, and service labor, which you've determined ahead of time, and then it just totals it for you at the bottom. Okay, finally, we have a bill of materials tab. It uses these same filters that I just showed you. So right now it should be, there's nothing in my bill of materials. If I click the Quick Quote, it brings in those few items that I chose, the 3 panels, the 225 smokes, and the 50 speakers, or I can do the file import as well. It's any combination of those devices that you wish for. And once we've done that, what is the end game of this was to create a fast item that I can bring into CellNav. So now I would say create a CSV file, and everything that I've chosen so far can now be brought over into which is a comma separated value file. And when you do that, I have my CellNav project already created. I go to products, I hit add product, and I would import that CSV. It's right now it's done in the same place you used to bring in FastDoor Smart Panel. Where in the next months we're going to actually change the name of this, and it will be import a CSV file. So that's it for us. The idea again is make this fast, grab all your field devices in one shot, and bring them into the panel. Peter, that's it for me. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chuck. And just to reinforce what Chuck was saying, the Feature Quick Quote software is now posted on the internet. So on the website. So if you go into the Simplex website, you can download this. You can download Feature Quick Quote, and it's also available publicly. It's on both the partner section of the website and the publicly available section. So if you have an engineer that you want to provide this to, or a contractor or somebody else outside of your organization, they can download it from the website as well. So I think it's a great enhancement to the system, and should definitely make putting quotations and notification appliance circuits designs together much easier. So, and again, Edgar, I thought, here, is there anything that you wanted to add before we start in the next section?
Well, there's also no pricing on this file too. So if you're worried about handing this to engineers or outside people, no pricing whatsoever. They can send their BOM and then hand it over to you to assign pricing to.
Bien, esta herramienta, bueno, como ustedes pueden ver, creo que va a ser bastante buena para todos nosotros. Es importante, como destacaba Chuck y Peter, que está en la página de Simplex y es libre, o sea, no únicamente para los que estén registrados, cualquiera puede acceder a ella y puede utilizarla, o se la pueden entregar a ustedes, no tiene precios ni nada. Obviamente, ahorita fue una presentación muy rápida. Si requieren capacitación o ver más a detalle la herramienta, con todo gusto podemos programarla. Back to you, Pete.
All right, thank you so much, Edgar. So now we'll switch from what you have. Again, the solutions that we talked to already are launched and available on the website. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up in the future and what enhancement we're building into Navigator to make the systems easier to use and faster for you. So, Jason, I think we're going to pass it back to you here, and you can take us through this.
Sure. Yeah, if you could proceed to the next slide. Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, you're really faint, Jason.
Oh, am I? Can you hear me now?
Oh, perfect.
Oh, okay, that's good. So, yeah, so one of the things I wanted to highlight, and I say it's this change is coming very soon. We plan to go live with this by the end of the month, by the end of March, is basically the way your orders are going to flow from Navigator into our ERP system. So if you can look at this slide, as you can see on the left side, the current process today is via an order email. So when you get to Selection Navigator and you create your orders and then you come to submit your orders, as soon as you press that submit button, what happens is that order gets sent to our customer services entity group mailbox. So it could go through, you know, that's picked up by multiple customer service representatives. And you also get a copy of that order, right? So as the project owner, you also get a copy, including any attachments, which is like the order PDF and things like the layout for manufacturing files that are required for 4100 ES systems. And of course, any other files or documents that you choose to add to that order as an attachment. It also gets copied to any CC recipient. So there's an option in that order UI to add a list of CC recipients. You can also set up a list in the account preferences today. So if you happen to, every time you send an order, you need to copy 2 or 3 people every time your business sends an order, rather than typing those in for every single order. You can actually set them up in the account preferences and they'll automatically flow every time you create an order. But ultimately today what happens is when that gets received by our customer services team, that order is manually entered into what we call our Barn 560 ERP system. Now, what we're going to be doing when we go live, as I said, hopefully by the end of March, is following a new process where we'll be sending those orders directly to our Barn ERP system automatically through an API, which is an application programming interface. So what will happen is when you press that submit button in Selection Navigator, you will still get a copy of that order exactly the way you do today with the order PDF and any attachments such as a layout file for 4100s. Any CCs that you have as recipients will still get a copy of that order. The only difference is instead of that going to our customer services team, that order will directly go into our back-end ERP system. And any attachments such as layout files will automatically go to a secure SharePoint, which can be accessed by our manufacturing and applications engineering. So again, for 4100 ES orders, that layout file is required for manufacturing. So that will actually go into a secure SharePoint. So this new process will apply to all Barn 560 Navigator accounts. So that includes all LATAM accounts that are directly ordering today on the US customer services team. So if you could go to the next slide, please, Peter. So something to watch out for. And again, you don't actually have to do anything as a user. So when we go live, you will notice some changes, slight changes to the order UI. But as again, you won't have to select anything. The actual session will determine which UI to display. So if you're currently today a user, you know, in LATAM that's sending orders directly to the US customer services team, you know, we know that in the back end and we change that UI and which will reflect to this new one. And there's a couple of screenshots that you can see there on the right. So the first thing you'll notice is that the bill to and the to fields are locked. So the bill to will automatically get picked up by what's in our ERP system. And the to fields, which were traditionally our customer services entity, are no longer required because the order's going directly into the ERP system. And then the freight forwarder and the courier fields are locked. The payment term fields are locked. And again, that's because all of that information is picked up by our default, the default data in our back-end Barn ERP systems. And you'll notice there's some updates to the shipping methods when using this direct order method to ground priority overnight, standard overnight, and 2-day air. And then other than that, once you press the submit button, that order will flow automatically and no longer have to be manually processed. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Thanks, Peter and the team. I'll pass back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. So Edgar here, I'm looking, again, I thought you might want to jump in and add any thoughts, especially on the order processing, which I'm sure is a big improvement for you.
Sí, gracias, Pete. Bueno, en la parte de la recepción de pedidos, bueno, como menciona Peter, creo que esto va a ser muy bueno para todos. En la cuestión de los nuevos cambios que vamos a tener, creo que va a ayudar a todos también, porque se va a hacer mucho más rápido. Prácticamente no vamos a depender de que alguien ingrese las órdenes ya una vez emitidas por ustedes en Navigator. Todos están dentro de BAN 560, entonces ninguno tendrá algún problema. Ya posteriormente, cuando esto se implemente, tendremos que ver algunos detalles sobre qué pasa cuando quiero cambiar los términos, a lo mejor de el freight forwarder que tengo y demás. Tendremos que hacerlo con un poco de antelación, pero repito, esto considero que es una excelente herramienta. Obviamente yo puedo tener una opinión, pero la que importa es la de ustedes. Entonces, por favor, si tienen alguna duda, si alguna cosa que creen que debe de mejorar, por favor háganoslo saber. Y bueno, creo que entramos a la sesión de preguntas y respuestas. So we're on the questions and answers, right, Pete?
Yeah, and I just was thinking while you were talking, Edgar, is there anything that you want to say, Jason or Chuck, about any available training resources or any place that the team here can go to learn more about these updates?
Yeah, I'm sorry, couldn't unmute. So in your selection navigator, as just a login, you automatically get access to the ULearn portal, which has training videos. So if you go into ULearn and then sales tools, I think it's ULearn, then Simplex, then sales tools. We've recorded some videos for this and for the IDNAC point-to-point designer. So the IDNAC point-to-point, which allows you to design your circuits. There's 3 videos on that one broken up into sections. And finally, the FQQ is a 4th video.
And all those are on ULearn right out of that menu, which is super helpful. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, Edgar, I'm looking up here and I don't see the QA button, so I'm not sure if we have the QA live for this session, which is unfortunate. Do you, I'm thinking at this point, you know, maybe unless you've received any questions or you have any questions that are yours or from your teams that we could address, you know, do you want to, maybe we just want to wrap it up here?
Well, I have no questions. I haven't received any questions yet, but bueno, parece que no tenemos preguntas porque parece que no está configurada la sección de las preguntas en esto. Nuevamente una disculpa. Lo que vamos a hacer es cualquier comentario que tengan, cualquier duda que tengan, cualquier pregunta, por favor, me la pueden hacer llegar a mí o a cualquier miembro del equipo y se las vamos a responder en la brevedad. Lo más rápido que podamos. Como mencionaron los cursos, hay cursos en ULearn que está dentro del Navigator en la parte inferior. De todas formas, si ustedes consideran que es necesario que tengamos un curso más personalizado, háganoslo saber y podemos hacerlo con todo gusto. Creo que con esto terminamos la sesión. Les devolvemos media hora, bueno, 40 minutos de su tiempo. Peter, do you want to mention an additional thing?
No, just again, we'll make the recording available.
I think we have I have a question that is coming
good.
through WhatsApp. Sorry.
Good.
So hold on, let me get it. Bueno, Enrique de Adices está haciéndonos una pregunta, me la está haciendo por el WhatsApp, entonces espere nada más que le escriba y ahora se las leo y la respondo. O si no la puedo responder, veo que Jason, Chuck o Peter lo haga.
I didn't catch that, Edgar. I'm sorry. My Spanish isn't that good.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I got part of it.
You have to translate.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Enrique from Addis is he's making a question through WhatsApp, so I'm just waiting for him to write it down, and as soon as I get it, I will.
Oh, okay, great.
I will read it to you guys. So hold on.
Yeah, sure, no problem. And what we'll do again is we'll make this available, and what I'll also do is, I'll email everybody who's accepted, so we can have a dialogue. Like if anyone has a question that they want to throw out to everybody, we'll answer everything publicly, so everyone sees the dialogue too. So we'll make sure it's ready.
Peter, if you wanted to enable my screen sharing again, I could show people how to navigate to the training content.
Yeah, for sure.
It might be helpful.
Okay, the question that Enrique has, and I'm going to give it to you guys in English, and then I will translate it, is where can you modify the build to and ship to fields, since right now I have to modify it on every single order. Y en español es, ¿dónde se podrán hacer modificaciones en el campo de build to y ship to? Porque actualmente tengo que modificarlo en cada orden.
Yeah, I can answer that one, Edgar. So today, okay, you go to the order UI, yeah, and you will change. What will happen is the build to defaults to the project owner. So if the project owner for that particular account has been set up with a particular address, then that will be the default. So you can always change it in that order UI. Yeah. Going forward, when we move on to the automatic orders, it's important to make sure that the build to is correct in the barn ERP system, because that's the build to that it will default to.
Ok, bueno, como menciona JSON, actualmente se modifica en la interfase de órdenes. Sin embargo, cuando ya esté funcionando el nuevo esquema en el que las órdenes ya van directamente a van, eso ya no se va a poder modificar porque ya va a tenerlo predeterminado de la información que se tenga en van. O sea, sí, ahí como menciona, va a estar bloqueado. Si se requiere modificar, que bueno, tendremos que hacerlo antes de hacer el pedido, nos tendrán que notificar para nosotros modificar en el sistema ese cambio. Digo, normalmente no es algo que se hagan cambios, muchos cambios, ¿no? O sea, 1 o 2 cambios. Cuando cambian ustedes de freight forwarder o alguna situación especial, es cuando lo haremos, pero sí tendrá que ser a través de nosotros para verlo con la gente que maneja el van. So the question was, the additional question was, if this is going to be blocked on the new interface, how can they change that? So I told them that we will need to get that request, and then we'll need to go with the people that works with ban, so we can modify this on ban. But I don't think that is going to be something that is going to be very common, since it's only when a freight forwarder is changed or there's a special situation.
Yeah. And if you think about it, Edgar, that's set up in Barn as like the main account, because that's what's done with the 3P and all of the contract process. So that should always be kind of like the source of truth as far as the build to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, correct. Bueno, creo que ya no tenemos otras, bueno, no hay otras preguntas. Digo, si se las pueden hacer a Francisco o a cualquiera del equipo y que me las hagan llegar, parece que no tenemos ninguna otra. So, Peter, I think that I don't have any other one, so maybe you can grab this.
Okay, sounds great. So I think what we'll do here then, Edgar, is we'll wrap up, and like I said, we'll stare out the messages, and then any questions that come in or anything, please, you might be better fielding them from your team because of the language differences here. But please, if anyone has any questions or doesn't understand something, let us know. We want to make sure that this is an easy transition for everybody, and that it's everybody gets full benefit out of these features.
Peter, do you want me to just show the how to navigate to the training content?
Yeah, that might be that's a really good idea, Jason, because they may not be familiar with ULearn. And also the fact that ULearn has tons of stuff on it beyond just this as well.
Yeah. So can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, we still see it.
Okay, yeah, so when I log in, and again, if you don't see ULearn on the tile, I've marked it as a favorite. Again, you can go to the applications here and you'll see training, yeah. And once I click on ULearn, it will open up a new page. And you can see it will show an index with a library. So what I want to do is go into the simplex tile here. And that'll take me down to some subcategories. And then I want to look at sales. And then specifically, I want to look at sales tools. And once you're in there, you'll see a whole host of videos. You can see there's just loading up now. You'll see a number of videos, and we always put the latest ones at the top, right? So you can see here we've got the IDNAC point-to-point designer. And as Chuck mentioned, we've updated those videos. We originally had a point-to-point designer, but this is version 2, so that's been updated with the latest version, and it takes you through various scenarios, right? So he's broken them down into short little videos, and then there's one here you can see at the top right, which is focused on the feature quick quote tool that Chuck just demonstrated. Then underneath there's all the various ULearn videos, again with regards to selection navigator. So, you know, configuring 4100, you know, and it goes through the different sections. So this shows you how to create a basic 4100 ES system. This one shows you how to configure like a transponder, how to create battery calculations, etc. And then all the other various features, you know, through to, you know, how to set up new users as a delegate admin, you know, how to add teams and contacts, how to add products, special pricing, creating orders. So there's a lot of content on here, and you know, they've been broken down, as I say, rather than one long kind of 2-hour video, they've been broken down into sort of 5 to 10 minute videos. You can see the sort of timing on the tops of them. So hopefully that's helpful. If anyone does get stuck or cannot access this, please reach out to Edgar, and we can make sure that we get you the necessary access. But it should be granted by default. If you don't see the tile, then like I say, just click on the applications drop down menu and make sure you can see training. And please let us know if you can't. Okay, thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Jason. That was really helpful. Excuse me. Okay, so I think we'll end the session with that now, and we'll go from there. And again, I hope you enjoy these new changes, and keep on the lookout for the announcement of those automated order updates that Jason talked about in the next few weeks. We'll have those. We'll have a message out for you on the email shortly, and I'll also put a plug in here on the Simplex website. If you go into the dealer section, there is a button that allows you to sign up for email communications, and I encourage you and anybody on your organization that should be getting email updates on Simplex products or tools or anything Simplex related, to go in there and put in their email address in to opt in. We can't email you unless you've accepted unless you've gone in there and added your name to that list. So you'll get much better communications, and we always, you know, as many people as you want in your team can sign up. So with that, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again soon with more enhancements. Thank you.
Muchas gracias a todos. Hasta luego.